Friends, from science to heredity and evolution, our point for today is evidences of evolution. Evolution is everlasting process of change, and this theory of evolution need proof to prove it. Organisms are developed gradually from their ancestors, and there are evidences to support the theory of evolution. First evidence is morphological evidence. Morphology means study of external appearance of organism. Friends, observe this diagram. Uppermost is dog, that is German Shepherd. To left side is sheep, and to right side below it is fox. Observe structure of mouth and nose of these animals. You will see that structure of mouth, nose, their position is the same in all the three mammals. Then observe position of ears, position of eyes. There is similarity in between these characters, and from these similarities we can say that their ancestor must be same. They have same ancestor, their origin is same. After that, observe this figure here, this photograph. This photograph belongs to three different type of plants, but similarity which is seen in them, first color, and second similarity is observe venation, means structure of veins. You will observe that every leaves has middle or main vein, and that vein have branches. So all these leaves have reticulate type of venation, and these similarities proves that their ancestor must be same. After this we are going to learn anatomical evidences. Anatomy means internal structure. As we know, morphology means external appearance, external structure. Like this, anatomy is internal structure. So when we observe this upper figure, this is human hand, cat's forelimb. This is whale's flipper, and this is bats with wings that can fly. So, if we see their function of all these four organs is different, and external structure is also very different from each other. You are observing this: human hand, cat's forelimb, whale flippers, and bat's forelimb, wing-like structure here is. So, externally they are different, means there is no similarity in morphology. Morphologically they are different. But when we observe their internal structure, structure of bone, bone joint, number of bones, we will find internal structure is similar. Observe here, human hand. Here, cat's forelimb, whale flipper, and here bat's forelimb. You will see or you will observe tremendous similarity in them, in structure of bones, number of bones, and bone joint are similar in all the four type of organ in four different organism, and from this we can say that their ancestor must be same. This indicates that those animals have common ancestor. Next evidence for evolution we are going to learn is vestigial organs. What is vestigial organs? Degenerated or undeveloped useless organ of organism are called vestigial organs. Degenerated or undeveloped, useless, not in use, organs of organism are called vestigial organ. Sudden development of new tissue or organ for adapting changing environment is not possible. Instead, what happens? Existing organ undergo gradual changes. In certain situation, it is useful. However, same structure under different situation may be useless or harmful also. For example, appendix in our stomach or in our abdomen, not stomach. Appendix in our abdomen. Appendix is part of large intestine. Where this appendix is situated, you can observe here. This is large intestine. This portion shown is of small intestine. Here that is shown ileum part is connected, and this is appendix. This part is appendix. So this appendix is useless in human body, not in use. Useless part. Till this organ appendix is useful in ruminants and herbivorous, and this part is used for digesting cellulose from the grass or plants. But why this is present in human? This indicates that human may also have this capacity to digest the cellulose, but as time goes on, there was no need to digest the cellulose, and day by day appendix start degenerating according to law of natural selection, and now appendix is not in use for human being, and same structure is useful in ruminants. Like this, observe this diagram. Here is muscle of ear pinna, you are observing, shown by arrow in human being. Muscle of ear pinna. You can also touch this muscle, but this muscle is useless now. That is vestigial organ. But in monkey, this muscle is useful. This muscle is useful. This is also shown by white arrow. And here in human pinna, this muscle is shown by black arrow. You observe this. So, muscle of ear pinna is useless in human, and same structure is useful in monkey. This also indicates that this muscle may be in use before some time. Now it is vestigial. Like this, tailbone, you can observe here tailbone or coccyx, and our last teeth, which is called as wisdom tooth. Wisdom tooth is also vestigial structure. This is also not of use. Many times that may be harmful. And uh, like what we say sometime, this structure, what we call appendix, this appendix is also sometimes become harmful, that get infected and doctor remove this by surgery, and no effect on our body because that is vestigial organ not in use. So this is about vestigial organ, and this is a proof for evolution, evidence for evolution. After this, paleontological evidences. Paleontology means what? Science of fossil. Large number of organisms get buried due to disaster like flood, earthquake, volcano, etc. Remnants and impressions of such organisms are preserved underground. These are called as fossils. Remnants and impression of such organism which are buried below the ground are called as fossils. Study of fossil is important for study of evolution. How evolution take place, scientists can conclude, and we can also conclude by studying fossil science. The scientific study of fossil is called as paleontology. Here you are observing this is a fossil of Dinosaurs, and from this, how was the structure of Dinosaurs? Scientists gaze about that. And now these are three different eras. First is Paleozoic era. Paleozoic era, which animal were there? As we go deep, deepest layer are which fossil obtained, that are invertebrate you are observing here. Invertebrate. And in upper to invertebrate are pixies. To above that are some amphibian like organism. And this is Paleozoic era. After this, reptiles are formed. Snake-like animals, snake, lizard, tortoise, dinosaurs are also seen here. So this era is Mesozoic era. Mesozoic era. This era, Mesozoic era. And after this era, before about 1.6 million years ago, develops birds and mammals, and this era is called as Cenozoic era. Cenozoic era, development of birds and mammals take place in this era. So, as we go deep in the earth, which are first type of fossil vertebrate, then reptiles, amphibians, and after this, aves and mammals. This means that evolution is gradual, step by step, from vertebrate to mammals and birds. So, how these eras are decided, how we can know which is the year of starting of what we say evolution, or when first organism was developed, when vertebrate, invertebrate were developed. This can be known by the process of carbon dating. So you must know about carbon dating. Here is detail about carbon dating. Carbon consumption of animal and plant stop after death. And since then, only decaying process of carbon-14 occurs continuously. Only decaying process. In case of dead bodies of plants and animals, instead of remaining constant ratio between carbon 14 and carbon 12, changes continuously. Carbon 12 is non-radioactive. As the time passes, since the death of plant or animal can be calculated by measuring radioactivity of carbon 14 and ratio of carbon 14 to carbon 12 present in the body. This is carbon dating. As the time passes, percentage of carbon 14 decreases and that of carbon 12 remain constant. And as the carbon 14 is radioactive, this can be measured. And from half-life of this carbon 14, which is radioactive, we can calculate, or scientists can calculate, age of that fossil, age of human fossil, and study of fossil as well as this carbon dating is used in paleontology for determining age of human fossil. Fossil eras are determined due to this carbon dating. Once age of fossil is determined, scientists can manuscript and we can deduce about state of former animal. It can be said that vertebrates are slowly originated from invertebrate. And after this, we are going to learn next evidence for evolution, and that is connecting link. Connect means join something. Here connecting link means joinder. Join here some plants and animals show some morphological characters by which they can be related to different groups. They are called as connecting links. Some plants and animals show some morphological characters by which they can be related to different groups. Two different groups. Hence, they are called as connecting links. For example, animal peripatus. This is peripatus. Peripatus shows characteristic of two groups. That is characteristic of Annelida. Which are that? Thin cuticle. First characteristic is thin cuticle and organs like parapodia for movement. These are characteristic of Annelida. But this peripatus also shows characteristic of other group, that is Arthropoda also. Open circulatory system. This peripatus have open circulatory system and tracheal respiration or tracheal respiratory system. And this is characteristic of arthropod. And from this we can say that arthropods are developed from Annelida. Arthropoda are developed from Annelida, and this is the connecting link in between two groups. Other example is duck-billed platypus. Observe this animal, duck-billed platypus. Duck-billed platypus shows reptile-like character, lays eggs like reptile. In addition to this, duck-billed shows mammalian character, and that character have mammary glands and hairs on the body. Have mammary glands and hairs on the body. And from this we can say that mammals are developed from reptiles mammals are developed from reptiles, and this is connecting link in between these two groups, reptiles and mammals. After this, observe this photograph. This is a fish. From a structure of eyes, mouth, and you can observe here fins. This is a fish. This fish live in water, but if this fish come on the ground, this fish can respire with help of lungs. With help of lungs. This means that this animal shows characteristic of both groups from pixies and amphibians. From pixies and amphibians. And from this we can say that amphibians are developed from fishes. Amphibians are developed from fishes. And from all the three examples, we can say that mammals are evolved from reptiles, amphibian from fishes, and from peripatus, we can say that arthropoda are evolved from annelids. Next evidence for evolution is embryological evidence. Friends, observe this diagram. These are embryo. First is example of fish. Fish embryo. 3 stages are given. 1, 2, 3. Second is of salamander. Third is of tortoise. Fourth is of chicken. Fifth is of pig. Sixth is of cow. Seventh is from rabbit. And eighth is of human, man. 3 stages are given for each animal. Observe this embryo of 4 animals: pig, cow, rabbit, man. You can observe first stage in all those is similar. Second stage is also shows similarity. And as time passes, with development of embryo, dissimilarity appears, changes appears. Here, in all these early developmental stages, you will find this first stage is similar in all the organism. About second stage, embryo are more similar in second stage also, you can observe here. In this organism, pig, cow, rabbit and man. But that is not seen in those organisms, salamander, tortoise, chicken. These embryo are different here in second stage. But first stage, when you observe for all these organisms, there is similarity. All embryo shows extreme similarity during initial stages of development, and those similarities decrease gradually. This indicates common origin of all these animals. Means their ancestor must be same. And all these 6 evidences, morphological evidence, anatomical evidence, vestigial organs, paleontological evidence, connecting links, embryological evidence, all these evidences prove that theory of evolution, that is gradual development of organism, which is everlasting process, is true and accepted by all the scientists today.